Whoa, hey, it is Cool Guy Lou and Friday on this podcast. Cool Guy Lou, if you want to introduce yourself and, tell the people what they want to hear, like where are you from, what you do on Start Playing Games, and what you do professionally in your life.
Hello, I'm Lou, the alleged cool guy. And yes, currently just shifted on over doing full-time GMing, which is great on the East Coast. And it's something which I'm sure a lot of other GMs have. People have run games for a number of years or just a long time. Something it's a dream and making it reality is always a good thing.
Cool, cool. And
And
yeah, go ahead.
and yeah, I'm also a trained graphic designer. I went to school for illustration and fine art, but the AI have taken that away, or at least a lot of illustration stuff. But um, with each passing month, I feel. But yeah, no, I do mostly graphic design and a lot of GMing stuff, nerd stuff. But what else is new, right?
All right, let's pivot to AI art. We're talking about it. Let's do it.
Oh
What
no,
have you you don't want to talk about it? That's fine.
no, it's totally fine. It's just
Okay.
I have opinions.
No,
So
opinions are great. Let's do it. Let's talk about your opinions.
yeah.
As an artist, as a graphic designer, how has AI affected you personally?
You know, maybe it's because I don't have a uh, well, for one, obviously, it's taken work away from me. To
Right.
put it out there flat out. Um, which it's kind of a double-edged sword, as it were. Where I understand it gives people a chance to visually kind of communicate things through AI art. If they're not trained or they don't have a budget, or whatever the reasoning. But it also obviously it what I feel vastly cheapens the uh, the craft. Um, and you know, it's funny. A thing that I'd always get was they'd see some of my work and they'd be like, "Oh, looks like it took you 10 minutes or so. Looks like it took you an hour." So I'm like, "Yep." And I went to school for 10 years to make it seem that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But or maybe my work's not a good example, but like other illustrators
Hmm.
that are their line work is very fluid and very quick and very like it looks effortless. Yeah,
Right.
because they've had years of making it look
Right.
like that.
Yeah, yeah. Mike Tyson makes punching people in the face look easy.
Yeah, man,
However,
that's easy. I should go to the gym, man. It's just okay. All right.
yeah, anybody could be Mike Tyson and punch like him, right? But what
Yeah.
cracks me up is like people who um uh see like recent videos of like, and of course he did that comeback fight, was an exhibition with one of his old rivals, Holyfield.
Hmm.
And what cracks me up is like the people who are, seeing him like small videos of him like actually like doing shadow boxing and stuff, and they're like, holy shit. Well, yeah, he had been doing it for 40 fucking years. Like
Oh,
like
you still
that
got
isn't
it.
just, yeah, well, yeah,
What do you
he's
mean? You still got
even
it?
if, yeah, even if it had deteriorated for the last 20 years, he's still got 40 years of experience. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. But like I would see little articles here and there. And of course, Twitter's a little bit of a mess, a hot mess
oh,
concerning
I know
this.
it. Yeah.
Um, but like I'd see art competitions now where there's solely AI art. I'm like, okay, all right, okay, that's a line. Like, let's not. And then I'd see, oh, the AI artist would like win a prize where there's actual human artists. I guess I'm like, All right. All right. Let's reel it back here.
Yeah.
But there are then I'll see other artists that are taking it as a tool approach, AI as a tool approach, which is I'm in that camp. Yeah, sure. It's a brush. It's a tool that you use. Um, but you need time to get like good with it, right? Just like you needed time to get good with a brush, pencil, or any software that you use, right? Um, but yeah, um, it's funny too because some of my fine art looks like AI generated. I could show you later. I was rearranging some of my older paintings, and I'm like, this looks like an AI did it. I'm like, well, maybe that's why
Yeah.
I don't like AI that much.
Yeah, all AIs are modeled after your personal work.
Obviously,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And this is actually, in full disclosure, something that I will say that I quote unquote got in trouble for with my art director because I was like, I've been following this AI artist who's like doing some really cool stuff and is combining photography and art in such a way that it makes it seem really cool. And they claim to only be using public domain art. So, okay, nobody's getting hurt in the process, sure. Um, and then I received a very educational amount of a reply from my art director. I was like, okay, we can't work that with that person, unfortunately. Okay, got it.
Yeah. That's why
That's
they're an art
unfortunate.
director. Yeah, because they
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Like I'm not gonna hire someone to be an art director and then be like, you don't know what you're talking about, art director. This is art. Like,
Yeah, yeah. This is art. But part of me, I don't know. Maybe it's like it's probably a little bit of a pride thing, maybe. But then again, like you spend 10 years working on something, and then you know it diminishes in value by not really by the people that matter. Like the people that matter, the value doesn't diminish yet.
right,
So AI gets good enough, eventually it will. But people that when I say the people that matter are like people that pay you, right? People that people that have an art education and they know a visual language. They're very fluent in that.
right.
Because people that aren't, maybe they're like, oh, I like Monet, I like Van Gogh. I'm like, okay, so does a couple mil. A lot of people do. Craig
Yeah.
Entertainment. Those are, but this might be a little bit of the pride showing, right? But it's
Or Mucha, you know?
yeah, yeah,
As you can see, but not my podcast audience. I
yeah,
always or if you look at my selfies on Twitter, you always see like when I
yeah.
take it from my desk, you see the Alfonso
Hmm.
Mucha uh, painting tapestry that I
Hmm.
have hanging up. But
Hmm.
I always thought about this, and I've seen this uh, talked about by other members in the community about tabletop role playing and like AI art because like right now the rates are like criminal even for artists and like writers and everybody. And if
Hmm.
you start using AI artists, like it's not very long before the AI comes for your job too. You know what I mean? And if you don't stand with the artist right now, like you know what I mean? Like it's one of those
Hmm.
political things that if you side with labor, then theoretically you always win. I don't fear, and this is something that I also read about one of our thinkers out there, and I say "our" as in like the human race. One of our thinkers out there who's I can't remember the name of them, but they were asked about AI, and they were like, "I don't fear AI. I fear capitalism,
Yep.
who is using AI to take advantage of people and to make sure that other people are leveraging it for, the people who are already rich rather than the artists or the whoever that is just trying to make a living wage doing something that they love, So I think that's
Hmm.
an important distinction and something that if we were to look at AI as simply a tool, then it would be great. However, that's not the society that we live in and we don't have universal basic income. to account for like an artist's lifestyle.
Hmm. Hmm.
So something like AI art does immense damage to the people and uh, that are coming up in the artist field or whatever field it might be. And I'm keeping an eye on like copywriters, like AI generated copywriting. It's terrible right now, but it's
Oh
not
yeah.
always going to be terrible. And that's something that I have worked on for years. And that's why my Twitter presence grows because I have worked on copywriting. Like I have worked as a writer for the last 20 years devoted to that skill set. And if I don't um, see that my job is also being threatened or my livelihood is also being threatened, then I think that's very short-sighted. But
Hmm. Yeah, it's very interesting. I always like to play devil's advocate when it comes to any kind of political issue here and there. Like, I always try to think and like understand subjects and the like, but I don't know. So like at least the argument of, like you said, it's pretty short-sighted. I'm just like, what? But okay, all right, that's usually my reaction. Okay,
yeah,
but
you sure about that?
so yeah, I'll look at DM's Guild or whatever. I'll look, hey, let's look at some new adventures. What's popping? What's new? What's a new and then I see like all this AI art cover of it. I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no. But well,
For
budget's a thing, so
sure, budget is a
understandable.
thing. Well, here's the thing that I would say to people that sort of espouse that, hey, I'm not taking away work from an artist. Um, I would say that, well, first of all, you need to consider that you're wrong. And then secondly, you need to also consider that some people at the very lower rungs of being an artist and when they're just starting out, they will take lower paying jobs because they are still working on their portfolio and they know that they're not at a professional level where they can charge a ton of money. And
Hmm.
some people genuinely, when they're first starting out, will do stuff for very cheap just because they want to be a part of a project. So I think that's a very disingenuous argument to make if you're including AI art within your project. I think that's a very disingenuous argument. And then
Hmm.
also, I would say if you're running a project or you're the primary investor or something like that, I guess I make it look easy, and we're circling back full circle. Just make more money.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. Just make more money.
Yeah, I like whenever I look at any RPG artwork product. So far, obviously I've been in the scene for well over a decade at this point. I'm 35. I started when I was about 20. You know, just I
You're
guess,
my age, Lou?
yeah.
Wow. Cool.
um,
Are we about to
and
exchange astrological signs too? I just
I,
found that it's all I can think
as
about right now.
all I understand is that I'm a Pisces. So
Oh,
I'm a
okay, okay,
very
okay.
I think that's
Right.
like a go with the flow kind of
Right.
like the most stereotypical artist sign is I
Yeah.
think Aquarius and Pisces are some like all right, whatever. Or I guess Gemini. A lot of artists can be Gemini, but
Yeah.
there's never like, you know, a Leo artist that I know of, someone
Right, right,
that's
right. Yeah,
very
I'm a Virgo sun and Scorpio moon. So, I was literally just on the phone with my girlfriend like 11 p.m. last night
mm,
discussing this because because I was talking to my Kickstarter manager and they had mentioned that their partner was a Leo because of some comment about like how they put like Leo energy on the wall and they were like that which is the most Leo thing for my partner to do to my apartment.
mm.
And so I was like I was curious about mine. So I texted my mom and I was like, "What time was I born?" And like I needed to know. So then I was on the phone with my girlfriend for like I don't know, it was like an hour. Um, and she was like reading it and she was like, "Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. Wow. Yeah." And before she would even tell me, she went on for like 5 minutes just reading my whatever and she was like, "Yeah, so you do like a lot of projects, you're a perfectionist, everything that you do isn't good enough, you're very critical of yourself." you like to take on more than you can handle at any one time. And also because you're a Scorpio moon, you're spicy as hell. And I was like, wow, that's like, this is weird. This is actually
Yeah,
fairly accurate to who I am.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't like believe in astrology per se, but I think it is pretty funny and it's a fun like whatever.
Yeah,
Um
it's funny how it always seems to work. That I feel like that's the usual reaction to when you're getting a reading, right? You're just like,
yeah.
oh, oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Hmm,
there's some truth to this. Okay,
hmm,
yeah.
okay,
And then
yeah.
yeah, I just think it's funny. But yeah, apparently being a Scorpio moon, like so I always knew that I was a Virgo because everybody knows like what their sun sign is normally. Is
Mm.
because it's like just when you're born, the day that you're born. But I never knew my moon sign. And then I guess that turned into like me discovering why I guess I do have really intense relationships and I need emotional like connection with people that I interact with, and like that's just who I am. And I've never really thought about that because whenever I would think about astrology, I would just think about it purely through like the sun sign. It's like okay, that well that says like nothing about me, and who I am like in my daily life. But like being a Scorpio moon means that I'm like super intense with people, and I have like that sort of, which is
Like,
how I am. So I'm just like okay, well, I'm
yeah,
a
because
believer. I'm halfway in. I'm halfway in now.
well, no, I was trying to figure out. I was just trying to figure out how do I find my moon sign? I think I think it was boring. I think it was
Right.
like a double fish or something.
Yeah,
And I
it's
was
time and location.
oh, okay, location.
Yeah.
Like, is it coast? Like, cause I was on East Coast at like 4
You
a.m.
can you can put
Uh,
it in a generator by city.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll have an answer for you later.
Yeah,
Now
cool.
I need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's being an artist. I have a collection of artist friends, and
Uh-huh.
they're
Oh, they're in
all
it.
into yeah, they're
Yeah, they're
all
super in it.
like that, almost like artist stereotypes. You know, there's like a spectrum of them. You know, there's the very serious artist that wears a suit and is very serious, and then just like the crystal
Right.
drinking water.
Yeah.
Like very so.
Yeah,
But
that's
they're all great. I'm I consider myself pretty darn lucky to have known friends for
right.
a long time. I always think that's very I'm like wow, cool.
Yeah,
Um,
my girlfriend after like we'd only been dating for like 2 weeks tried to give me like a good luck crystal for something, and I was
mhm.
like, I don't believe in that. But and I was like looking back on it, I was just like, I apologized like afterward, but I was
Yeah,
like, you know, I don't really. I'm just sorry how I said that.
yeah, yeah.
But like, yeah, my girlfriend is totally like in that range. Like she sleeps
Hmm.
with crystals in her pillowcase. Like,
Yeah, like I mean, I like parts of the aesthetics, but not like the I guess the like the shamanistic
right,
like actual practices of it. But like yeah, like I have scented candles everywhere.
right,
I got weird crystals in the shape of pugs.
right. Of
I
course,
got
because
that
you're a
aesthetic.
proud pug owner, right?
Yeah, and my pug is well he's in space right now, but he's had a I took him to daycare because I wanted him to be tired. Darn it, I needed some work done.
Right.
Um, just something I learned fairly recently that doggy daycare is a thing. I never knew that was.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
for
never knew that
sure.
was really a thing.
That's
And
probably expensive though, huh?
uh, I know them.
Oh, okay, okay,
I
okay.
do I do pet portraits
Right.
for some of their clients, and so I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
that's a little bit of the trade-off. Like
Right.
all right, I very rarely bring my guy over because he's 8. He's pretty chill.
Hmm.
But then again, I'm like, all right, so he's passed out. But what I was mentioning before, Shadows of Esteren is the RPG by
Hmm.
Agate Studios, French
Okay.
tabletop RPG, and they anything that they make, the art is like that. Like whenever I imagine like art for a fantasy game,
Uh-huh.
specifically fantasy. I don't think it translates well for sci-fi stuff.
Right.
But for fantasy, I'm like, that's it. That's it. That's like that's my aesthetic. Like when I see that, I'm like, because it's all watercolor. It's all, and I could
Okay, okay.
see the. I'm like, how, man, where'd you guys get the budget to pay all this? Because I mean, it's
Right.
such high quality. I could tell that it wasn't rushed or anything. Like it was every piece is so just so like I'll see. And here's my art critic hat's coming up. Okay, so I'll see like D&D's, some of their artwork. I'm like, okay, some of that's good. I mean, it's just digital art. They just
Yeah.
hired someone to do a quick little digital painting. Probably took, um, that's looks nice, looks evocative, right? Um, but some of them I'm like, all right,
I want you to be critical about my art right now, so that I've
oh
hired for.
yes,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
send it to you right
sure.
now. Okay, keep talking.
What I've seen so far with the Banshee, the portrait and everything, I love that's great because that reminds me of the Shadows of Esther and stuff.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think because that artist that you have has very kind of loose, and everything's not so tight, like everything's not so realistic. Oh, get him realistically render the fingernails. No, it's just the
Right,
brain sees the shape and they label it. They understand, that's like let your brain think, let your brain
right.
do the work, right?
Yeah,
But that's again, that's the skill of an artist being able to know when it's enough. Yeah, like that. That's bordering on being overworked, but in my opinion, but no, I think that's like just the right. Yeah, those just the right. Yeah.
yeah.
You
Because you can tell it's a painting,
yeah,
but
like those.
yeah, it's almost realistic.
Well, because yeah, your artist here, they leave those strokes in. A lot of again like D&D, whatever. You know, some other fantasy art. I guess maybe that's what they're going for. Okay. Um, I don't have to like everything. That's fine. But as an artist, I love
Right.
seeing like when I go to museums, I go to shows. I'd get real close because I want to see those brushstrokes. I want to see how they were placing down that paint.
You
Because
sound
as an
like a
artist,
sicko. I wanna see those
I want to
brushstrokes.
see it. No, because as an artist, I'm like, it's like if you were a carpenter and you're inspecting, I don't know, a piano that was made, and you want to see, I don't know, carpentry shit. I don't know, I'm not a carpenter, but as as a painter, I want to see, okay, you get it, you see the composition, you see the how the light is working. That's far away. Then you get a bit closer, okay, you start seeing some tertiary aspects of the paint. Okay, cool. Get a bit closer. And you're seeing the. I don't want to see fingernails. I want to see them brushstrokes. So yeah, like
Yeah.
that. Your artist here is a very loose, you know, and stuff like I know you've ran some Pirate Borg, it's from Morkborg,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the artwork from that's like on the other side of the spectrum where it's like very loose and it's just all about vibes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all about just the
It's a
the
trip.
vibe of it. It's
The
not.
art in Pirate Borg is so, like it's it's an expression, and I think that's, getting away from realistic art, I think, is important, especially in this sort of genre, especially, like, if you are looking at creating a particular type of experience. I think it's important to pick the right art style for whatever you're trying to convey in the tabletop game, for sure.
Mhm, yeah. Uh, I mean that I'm sure like anyone that knows about Morkborg or even Pirate Borg or Cyborg, all the others that have spawned from it. I mean, sometimes you see an RPG product and you're just like, all right, chill out. Like, all right, Jesus, calm down. Wow. Oh my God. Like that's whenever I have that reaction to a product, I'm like, all right, I'm buying the shit out of this right now. Like I'm, like that's again. as the years go by, that becomes a bit more difficult to have that feeling. But like when you first, you're like, whoa, my God. So of course, Morkborg, I'm like, all right, I don't care. Like, I'm not even gonna run it. I just need it. I need it for the
Hmm.
vibes. But no, the artwork that you send me here is great. Have you was it just between sort of like your art director and the artist? Because I could tell it's the same artist.
For these two pieces, no,
Yeah.
I was the art director for both of these pieces,
Oh,
and then
okay.
the future pieces, I will not be the art director, because we have since hired an art director.
Hmm.
So I definitely want to leverage Elaine for her expertise um, in that field and like make sure that they are bringing to the table like everything that they can bring to make it a AAA product rather than like me just trying because I
Right.
can try and like do a decent job based on the backs of like this artist being amazing by themselves, but I'm not going to get the
Yeah.
results that Elaine's going to get.
Yeah, just because some artists, it's just like what was it, like some athletes, like sometimes they could just grind it out, like they're just so like just the raw talent and skill, they're able to kind of put the team on their back.
Hmm.
But so some artists, but other artists, they need a bit more direction. They need, you know,
Well, especially now that we are utilizing more than one artist now, and the future pieces also need to kind of reflect that same artistic vision. So putting it all under one art director, I think, is very important for that reason because we have multiple artists coming together and we have to figure out a way to make it all look like the same theme and product and like it has to look all like the vineyard.
oh yeah,
So achieving that really is in Elaine's hands and I'm just kind of there to say like looks good.
that's good. Ship it. All right, we're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, of course, the graphic designer side of me is looking at these pieces, and I'm already thinking of like how to incorporate that into, say, a publication, like into the books, whatever. All
Hmm.
right, so these are like just straight portraits that you're showing me. So usually, I'm of the bend of just, you know, especially for the Banshee of her true form here. Um, yeah, like you gotta have some very expressive marks and stroke, like that. I know me. Of course, I'm just talking about my opinion now. I would love that because I would, further emphasize the oomph of, oh no, it's scary. It's
Yeah.
it's spooky. So.
Here's what we're doing for our preview. I kind of sent you that. And by the time this drops, we will probably have that out for everyone. I know that I'm emailing it to everyone on my newsletter list. And that will be out here shortly. It's the Halloween preview. And that will be The Siren, which is one of our NPC lieutenants written by Sarah Madsen. You might know Sarah Madsen from their work in Cobalt Press or Candlekeep Mysteries or I believe they have also worked with. I'm just gonna pull it up right now before I embarrass myself. Hold on.
I see I see a graphic designer already did what I just said.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, okay, yep, got it.
Yeah, they've also worked with Ghostfire GMing, and then they were an editor on Uncaged Goddesses, of course, because that one publication, of course, like just had like such a star-studded team. I have actually somehow managed to recruit several Uncaged Goddesses contributors to the project, some writers, designers, and so on and so forth. Um, and actually, our art director is from Uncaged Goddesses as well, and they will be doing our cover art
Oh,
in addition to being the cover artist.
of course, the cover art is always in any kind of, public. That's the big,
Very important.
I'm sure that
Yeah,
you and the whole team all like, oh yeah,
I'm gonna
like
I'm gonna link
just,
this in the description, but like because otherwise people won't know what we're talking about. But I'm gonna show you like the art director's um line of work on the Beauty and the Beast sort of interpretation. And this is what attracted me to this art director in particular was their ability to basically capture one person in focus and then a sprawling storytelling moment with scenery.
Right, right. Because you're kind of drawn in. At least for me, you're drawn in by the figures. Then you kind of linger there with all the extra
Yeah.
stuff because your brain wants to. Again, you see a bunch of shapes, so it goes to what it recognizes the most, and then it
Mm-hmm.
kind of circles around trying to scan. Oftentimes I'll talk about the brain like a computer, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah,
Elaine's work on this, it's called The Tempest and the Fire, Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's just really fantastic, and I think encapsulates like the sort of feeling that I want to recreate with Undead. And I am very excited to see what they are going to be able to do for the Vineyard on the cover with something with this sort of style and this sort of
yeah,
perspective.
yeah. This is great cover material, especially wraparound.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, because any kind of environment those are always great. Um, as long as it's not AI art, that I think that
Yeah,
immediately cheapened everything. But
right.
my stance. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, pivoting to let's talk about what you do and start playing games and what your strategy has been, how things have been going with you and your business growing. Let's talk about when you started.
So I started, I think it was the end of last year. I think that's when it's
Okay.
funny, because I was just looking for a game to join and I saw someone made a posting for like, I think it was like a Mutant Year Zero game. No, it was
Okay.
Alien. It was an Alien game,
Yeah.
Alien RPG. And I wanted to be a player in it. And, I clicked the link and I was like, wait, this isn't Roll20 because I'm just used to, at that time, used to just Roll20. I go to some link and what's this start playing games thing? Oh, this game is $10. Well, a session, like that's like the first hit and the second that I'm uh, like how many? What? And then that was my discovery of the site. And I kind of had that, what? Like I should have been doing this 10 years ago. What the heck?
Yeah.
Um, this
Yeah.
is a thing. Oh God.
You guys have
And
been getting paid?
you guys have been getting paid?
Yeah.
What? I've been putting like 40 hours with the full. Are you kidding me? All right, sure. All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then I did some research, and then I'm like, okay, there's like this little event. I'll do some one shots.
Mhm.
I think I was like, all right, I'll do a one shot. I ran 5 1 shots, and I just had to write and prep and set up 5 different. I'm like, maybe that was a little much, but only
Right.
like really 3 of the 5 really actually got players. I'm like, okay, and then I have to like advertise a bit, but because I'm so used to just v-
Posting
visually, just
and then
posting and people
yeah,
joining, yeah,
yeah, you
and
post
then
and there's 30 people who submit to join your game,
yeah.
only 3 of which are actually good players.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, then I, you know, got to the Discord and I so did the onboarding and all that. And I
yeah.
noticed like everyone was kind of quiet. The server is pretty quiet. The what I like to call the good morning chat, the M chat, is pretty quiet. Then I see this person is Friday starts posting some things. I'm like,
That
oh,
loud bitch.
yeah. I'm like, oh. Now then, like, because I think um you started before me. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty darn sure. Or maybe I don't know. Either way, but you started pairing, and then I'm like, oh, let me see. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that is a good point. Because then I'm. It's things like, when there's an answer to a problem and you know it's right in front of you, but you're just not there, and then it clicks, and you're like, oh wait, yeah, that does make sense. Oh wait, what am I doing? And then kind of rework things, and I'm continually reworking things. I'm like, oh, what's Foundry? Okay, I just fucking dove into that. That's been great. Now because I ran games. I think have I ever mentioned this back when Facebook was an actual thing? Um, but there's something called the RPG Brigade, which was
Mhm.
kind of like a Facebook group, a couple thousand people. It was very active. It was YouTube and Facebook, right? And there's
Mhm.
essentially a bunch of like vlogs of like tabletop RPG, people talking
Mhm.
about a variety of subjects. And so that's kind of where I first began. It was kind of that, seeing the conversations and so on. Kind of honed my craft from there. Did a bunch of live plays on YouTube that are, looking back, are very cringy. And I'm
Mhm.
like, ooh, it's something that
Of
like
course.
you've developed, and you look at your past work and you're like, yikes. All
Yeah.
right, let's
I think that's so naturally human too. Like I
yeah.
say yikes about me last week all the time, so that's like a part of my existence,
Yeah, you
especially.
think like, wait, maybe I should have toned it down on that, or like maybe I should have did this path, whatever.
Yeah.
Live and learn, I guess. Well, what are you gonna? That's like a GM. That's like a GMs will know when I say like that that little detail that you say, that little thing you say. Players latch onto it, and they keep want to go. They want to keep going down that road, and you're like, okay. So wait,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on my random encounter, and or but now since I've like yourself, uh, you do it long enough, you get familiar enough with the material that you can just what's your prep? I don't know, like 10, 20 minutes. It's not you just know.
I'm afraid to out myself. Sometimes I only prep 20-30 minutes for a game.
No, I'm the same. No, like
Yeah.
I'm a very loose prep. Well, what I'll do is like I'll write for a week straight, and I'll just have all this content. Um, and then I forget about it. Or no, then I don't even look at it. Then I would just run the game. But the
Right.
process of writing it
Yes.
kind of
Yeah,
ingrains,
it is.
part of
Exactly.
me.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is most apparent in my vampire games when I prepare a plot hook and then like the players generate so many plot hooks that I enable that I'm just like, well, 6 weeks later they're gonna come back to this plot hook I actually prepared. So I'll
Yeah,
just wait. and
yeah.
and like I've
They
got this to throw at them if they have nothing to do, but right now they're just on their own shit that I'm gonna enable and I'll figure it out.
they get like a bestial failure and
Yeah.
cascades into a bunch of other stuff that happens. So, all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why it's a great game. I was a big fan of fifth edition when it came out, and made
Yeah.
made vampires feel less like superheroes and more like, you know, vamps, vamping,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Yep.
Um,
It's definitely a rewarding system and much easier to prepare than D&D for sure. I
yeah,
think D&D I'm more of a location prepper, so I will prepare a location and I will
yeah,
prepare maybe some plot points, but I don't really prepare much else. I just prepare the stuff that I need visually to be represented on the screen, and then
mhm.
everything else I can work around generally.
Yeah. That's I have this pretty bad habit. I'm getting better at it, but I've got this pretty bad habit where, like, I love making art, right? And so I
Uh-huh.
just I just keep making art for my games. I'm like, oh shit, I actually have to. I'm never gonna use any of this art. Oh fuck. All right. Well, I'll just. It's there if I need it. So,
Yeah.
um, like in my vampire game, I just found all these beautiful There's a photographer that did all these beautiful shots of like these worn down houses in New Orleans. I'm like, damn, it's so creepy, so evocative. These are great. And so I spend an hour or two just doing scenes. I'm like, prepping them on Foundry. I'm like, I'm never going to use these. I'm never going to use these
That slow
pictures.
realization that like you're just shoehorning
Just
your characters or your players
yeah,
into like that street so you can show them the art that you made.
yeah. So now I'm like, what? Like I just have it. If I ever do need a picture of someone's haven or like a creepy house, whatever. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, recycle, reuse.
that's kind of for D&D, for any game really, like I more of a visual, right? I'll think of like a skeleton, a frame, of an outline. I'll write stuff, and then I'm like, okay, now images, and then back to writing, and then back to images. I kind of ping pong. A lot of times, I'll write an initial thing for like an NPC, like, oh, this is the Prince of New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
and this is yada yada. And then I find a picture. Then I find the picture. I'm like, damn. I guess he talks like this now. Like, or I just, it's sometimes the pictures or whatever, the imagery, the art is so evocative. And now I gotta rewrite him.
Yeah.
Now he's a Southern gentleman.
Yeah.
Now he's this and that. Okay. And
Yeah.
he's also going crazy because he's an elder. He's starting hearing voices, the
Right.
beckoning. Um, and that's uh that's what that game's about essentially. There's a
What
lot of
an end.
elders in New Orleans for reasons, which they'll very
Yeah.
quickly find out because they're eating all the neonates and everyone that's coming in because they're like, oh yeah, come on over. It's safe here. All these other domains that crash and whatever. It's safe over here. Come on over. Like they,
Arr.
yeah, neonates, whatever, fledglings. No one cares if they go missing. And Scylla go missing. Okay,
Yeah.
someone might start asking a question.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I love the idea, especially for vampire. I love that concept of someone that was once in their heyday, like they were once the ruler or whatever, this and that, but now they're just the weakness. I love showing strong characters weak. I love like in D&D, like a powerful wizard. That's actually a dragon, but he's just old and frail, and yeah, he's
Yeah.
an old ass, like he's a lot of curses, and he's got a lot of shit going on, and he's like, oh yeah, yep, I'm still doing this with my life. Yep, I'm still, or whatever. But I love writing flaws. That's definitely my any
That's good.
creative stuff. So
Yeah, that also makes characters a lot more interesting. Definitely to make them fucked up in some way and like just or
yeah,
vulnerable.
the
I am
players
curious.
love that. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I'm really curious about you running games in D&D as well, because we know that you run, well, I know that you run, and for the audience, Alien, Coriolis, and sort of those sci-fi games, in addition to like
Hmm.
something fantasy adjacent like Vampire, so more modern. But D&D, what have you been doing lately?
So I've been sort of in the Dark Sun ditch, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of in the process of just opening up a bunch of more recognizable titles, right? And
Right.
changing them uh, a lot. Stuff like, Call of the Netherdeep, that Fandelver. Good old Fandelver. It's like an
Yeah.
old town.
Reliable.
Good
Reliable.
old reliable.
Yeah.
And personally, I have a Baldur's Gate Descent in Avernus thing, and I have a big remix of it, and I'm so excited for it. But I just know in the back of my head, I'm like, this might not have some good traction. So, I'll see. I'll develop it in chapters, in parts. I won't write
Yeah.
the whole thing and then start. No, I'll do a little, the first. I'll write the first 8 sessions or so.
Yeah.
The first bit.
That's
Um,
like that's the conversation I had with someone who was brand new at SPG, and they were like, "Yeah, I have this idea." And I was like, "Oh god, here we go." And they were like, "I want to combine Waterdeep with Dungeon and Mad Mage and all these other expansions that I know of so that I'm providing a totally unique experience in which someone can go in any direction and it's all going to be different than what they would normally experience." And I'm like, all right, so you're gonna start with Waterdeep, right? And they were like, yeah, but, and I was like, no, you're gonna start with Waterdeep, right? And they were like,
yeah.
yeah. I was like, okay, let's keep your table for longer than 3 sessions running Waterdeep, and then you can worry
Mhm.
about all that other shit. Because like you're about to do a bunch of work for the game that might not get off the ground. You
Yeah.
need to prep to run the game and retain your players. Because if you run into the problem where you fill this table and then the table dies within 3 sessions, then you're gonna have to rerun that game again anyway. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you need to like not overburden yourself. You need to run the game that you can, in the least amount of prep while still maintaining a professional level of quality and do that. And then when it comes time to do other content, you focus on pivoting to that content with clients who are loyal to you and have already demonstrated that they're interested in returning again and again. You
Mhm.
don't prepare 6 months of campaign before you even launch the table, my guy. Like
That was
that is
that was a
yeah.
mistake that I made. I'm definitely owning up to it with Wild Beyond the Witchlight. I
Mm,
went through the whole campaign and I adjusted it and I made it more like Changeling the Lost from World of Darkness, like
yep.
a bit more, and then I posted, I'm like, no one's joining this shit. Like, no, I had, yeah,
I'm
like,
so sorry.
yeah, like I had two players join and I had a friend of mine in there as well. And played like one session and then they dipped. They're like, no, I'm good. I'm like, yeah. This
Yeah.
might have
Ex-
been the
Expectations did
course of
not
time.
meet
Yeah. It
reality
didn't
for them.
meet it, or at least
Yeah.
the um the game itself, it wasn't recognized. There's a lot of factors. But
Yeah.
now I know. And I'm like, okay, now I have a okay, a
Well,
little,
that's for sure, and that's part of like and what I like to discuss with people like and how I conduct business now. Like
Mhm.
I will announce that I'm doing something 3 months in advance. Like I just told my players, I'm running Exandria Revelry Pirates in January to replace all of
Mhm.
my Saturday tables because Strahd is wrapping up, right? For that day I have 3 Strahd games. And I'm like, I can do that and get people to sign up like tomorrow in anticipation of that game because not only do I have the pre-existing audience to build like the 2 or 3 to 5 players that might want to play the new game in that same time slot, but then also I have this community that I can pitch these ideas to. Guess what happens when I post an idea and people don't respond positively to it? I don't fucking run the game.
Yeah,
So
go. Well,
literally that's what happened with the Cerberus Assembly. I thought, like, to myself, it's going to be so fucking cool to run evil wizards in Exandria, and people are going to love it. Nobody wanted to play it.
yeah.
So all I did was I copy pasted the Exandria Cerberus Assembly, like, description, the pitch. I came up with a hook line, and I posted in my community. Not very many people were interested, so I didn't run the table. I didn't even have like I had interest from like 1 or 2 people who could play in that time slot. So I'm like, I just saved myself so much fucking heartache by just like posting in advance. Like, and when you get to that point with your business,
Yeah.
then you can definitely do that. And I think your community is big enough to do that for
It's
you.
getting,
But
yeah, I feel like it's just on the cusp where,
yeah,
like I'll make, so like, Dragonlance is coming out. I'm not, personally, I don't know like an encyclopedia amount of lore, but I just know that,
right,
it was like the D&D, it was the dragons.
right.
You ride dragons, a lot of dragons. Okay, cool.
The
And
D
there's
and
some,
D with all of its problems and
yeah,
yeah,
yikes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But then again, I feel like I'm pretty good at, because I've been running Dark Sun for a while.
hmm
I'm doing Spelljammer too, both of which are old retro
Yeah.
campaign settings. And
And
you
repurposed
know,
without the racism. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
We could say it, everybody that's what
it's
everybody's thinking about. Who knows what those IPs are? Yeah.
yeah, it's great. And I instead, like for Dark Sun, I hone more so, and I remind the players there a lot, maybe too much, but I let them know. I'm like, all right, because like you may think that I'm acting very mean towards you and no one likes you. Uh, that's because it's Dark Sun. I like it's
It's
but
unfortunately a feature
that's
of the
a
setting.
feature.
It's a
I'm
feature of the
sorry.
setting for me to abuse you. So if you're not interested in
Yeah.
that, we cannot play this game. Like,
Then
if
again, like,
you like to just get shit on
yeah,
constantly and have every NPC trying to kill you or enslave you, then you
yeah,
might like
yeah,
Dark Sun. But if not, then
yeah.
don't play that game.
Some people, they like the post-apocalyptic underdog story kind of thing, and
Mhm.
that's really what I'm selling for that.
Yeah.
Um, and for a Spelljammer, I mean, with usually anything I write, any campaigns, whatever, anything I write is usually of a mature audience.
hmm
Like I'm not. Uh, I'm trying to tackle within, lines of veils and so on. I'm trying to tackle certain certain themes and
Right.
subjects and trying to make a space where it's, you know, what would your character do, when
Right.
they have a partner and they get a child. Then orcs raid your village and they take them
Right.
or whatever. Like of course as a player, as GMs, you know what they're gonna do.
Right.
But as a player, like you carefully walk them through, you know, the viciousness of a troll. You
Right.
cut off their arm and they hit you with it. Like they're
Right.
not afraid of dying because they don't die. They regenerate. So that in their
Right.
psyche, there's just or a monster, they attack you. Let's say like an alligator pops out of the water. Okay, succeeds, attacks you. It doesn't kill you or anything, but it grabs you and then drags you into the water and death
Oh,
rolls. Okay. Um,
well,
well,
well.
like no, it's not like a video game. It's not just gonna square up and punch you like they're gonna,
Yeah.
you know,
It's gonna
get
try to
to
win.
it's gonna try to kill you.
It's gonna try to win.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's always. I feel like some people are, they're
It's
used to.
It's difficult because especially if they've been trained that way as a player in other
Yeah,
games, that anything put in front of them is going to be like something that they can overcome. And
yeah,
some of those settings like Dark Sun are just really not about that. Like
uh,
they are more about like we're going to represent the harshness of this reality. And that's the way that like Barovia is set up. But
oh
everybody
yeah,
understands it. So like something like Dark Sun you really inherently like are set up to fail in so many ways, and like your entire story is like fighting against all these oppressive tyrants,
yeah,
in whatever form that they come in. So that's like definitely a story that people enjoy, like you said. But like, if people don't
mhm.
understand that going in, like they're gonna have a bad time, pure and simple.
Yeah. I've had some players that have come in. They're like, hey, you're a great GM and everything. Just this campaign sitting about. Like they don't.
Yeah,
They didn't really know. They thought it was more like Fallout, like it's kind of like you're the
right.
main character. I'm like, no, Templars show up.
You're
They don't
dead.
wait until you have your armor on. They don't wait until they just show up, hold person, rope you, you're gone. They just take
They
it.
have a job to do, and their job is to fucking kill you.
Yeah, or probably enslave you or do
Yeah,
something bad, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But one of my favorite tactics is tell them that, and then I'll give them a few violent things or like things that turn to violence, but like the players beat them, because I do like
yeah,
the root. I'm rooting for the players, every time they're characters. I want them build them up, just like any GM thing, right? You build them up a little bit, then they'll all fuck around and find out.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like you keep choreographing like this is a dragon, this is a dragon.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
dragon is here.
Yeah, I, you
At
know,
the end, this is a vampire. This is a vampire. Okay. Uh, Wall of
yeah,
Force.
yeah,
You're dead.
exactly, yeah. Okay, so I do have to
You're
get
dead.
to my
Oh yeah,
next
yeah.
guest. Lou, thank you so much for coming on. I would love to have you back sometime, of course.
Of course,
You
yeah.
know, we see each other 1 or 2 times a week anyway, so you might as well. But
Yeah, sure.
no guilt tripping, I'm sorry. But
No,
if you
I love to go on. Yeah, if you'd have
um
me,
s-
yeah.
Yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna put your links in the description of uh, the Patreon post, and then also if you could, if you want to talk about anything that you're doing right now or any campaigns that you have coming up, you can do so. We're gonna link to Lou's socials, and then if you want to hire them as a graphic designer as well, I'll utilize Lou for all of my thumbnails on Start Playing Games. I cannot recommend Lou enough. Worth the money. You're gonna earn back the money in like the first or second session. You just run a game, and then like you've got that for all of your campaigns in that setting or whatever you need. So, but anyway, Lou, go ahead. What do you got?
Well, I got Spelljammer that I'm really excited about, that I'm kind of pushing. But like I mentioned before, I do have, more recognizable adventures. Descent into Avernus. Do you want to feel have that feeling, the confusion of a city just disappearing, and now there's all these refugees, and there's all these other things are happening. Put the clues together. You're going to Avernus. That's what's happening. And other things like Hall or Netherdeep. Do you want to experience a bit of a rivalry, but play truly, not just they love you, hate you, or they don't care about you. No, it's they're play it out like people, right? What would they do, and so on. It's usually going to be opposite of what you're doing, what you're doing, obviously. Because what is a rivalry without that? But yeah, Call of the Netherdeep, Spelljammer, and winter is coming in the form of Rime of the Frostmaiden. Let's go. Love the open-endedness of it, and a lot of changes to make it seamless, bit more approachable, bit more uh, worthy, let's say, of my time. But hey, uh,
I'm
overly
really
critical
curious.
GM.
Yeah, I'm really curious what you're gonna do with both Avernus and Rhyme,
Yeah.
visually. So if you could at some point just show me like some of your mock-ups, I'm like very curious because um I'm sure it's great, but I don't want to
Oh yeah.
because I played in your Dark Sun game and your Coriolis game, and what you
Hmm.
did visually with both of those systems are just incredible. So I'm
Hmm.
very much interested in seeing what you do with Foundry in those respects and like your design.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm always excited about that. But then again, I can't go off on the tangent, the art making tangent, and just keep
Right.
making. Now I gotta. Okay, let's think about it. Let's go in chapters. Let's build this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like let's not just make all this stuff and then I have all this
Right.
stuff.
Hey, also, you probably just need to open up a Patreon for all that shit that you did that people didn't
I
use for a
Yeah.
while beyond the witchlight. And just like
Yeah,
start, yeah, you probably just need to do that. You should do that.
yeah. That's definitely coming. I'm gonna push for the end of November,
Mhm.
get that going. I have one package of ruins, a variety of ruins and dead and foregone things. Um, those scenes, and I kind of want to make these packs of certain wilderness, generic things, and then hone it to more weirder. Keep it
Okay.
weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and send me your Patreon link as well in case,
Right.
people listening in the future, and you've already come out with all these things, then we can send them along the right path
Of
to
course.
find those
Yeah.
things. All right, so we're gonna
Indeed.
wrap up here. Thank you so much, Lou. And thanks to anybody who considers listening. All right, take care, y'all. Run more games.
Goodbye.